What's going on, everyone? Today we're going to be making a video of my top 5 mods that I've done on this car. So without further ado, let's get into it. So starting off, my number 5 favorite mod, my top 5, my number 5 would have to be the dog bone insert. You know, when you get the car, it doesn't make a whole lot of power, but as you tune it, you go stage 2, you kind of start to realize like you get a lot of wheel hop, you get a lot of traction issues, and it's generally really hard to launch the car. Obviously other things tied to that like springs, suspension, tires, you know, what have you, but it's really hard to launch the car without having a good dog bone insert. So I made a video installing it and kind of my initial impressions, but never made a really long video on it. The dog bone insert is pretty easy to install, it's pretty cheap, and it really helps the car put down the power better. And for that reason, I would put it at number 5. You know, I think I got my ECS one for like $60. So it was well worth it after I tuned the car and was making more power. So yeah, that would be honestly my number 5 top favorite mod. I'll put the video in the description if you guys want to check it out, but that's, you know, quick and dirty kind of what it is. So kicking off number 4 would have to be the cold air intake. And not this cold air intake specifically, because it's not really a great one. It's not bad by any means, at least I think, I don't know. Anyways, the cold air intake just really lets you hear the car better. And when I bought the car, one of the things that I really wanted was a lot of turbo noise. So this is pretty much what did that. And then when I did the turbo inlet pipe and the intake hose a little bit later, that's really what allowed me to hear the car a lot. You know, after I went stage 2, I'm sorry for this bird, this guy is really loud. After I went stage 2, the downpipe kind of helped a lot of the airflow get through, so there wasn't as much like chew. But the turbo inlet pipe and the intake hose along with this APR PEX intake really is one of my favorite mods just in terms of the sound. Now, if I could go back in time, I would probably have bought, you know, either the Blaze intake or maybe even the integrated engineering one. Both are pretty solid, but the Blaze definitely looks the coolest, so I like that one. Want whoosh noises, so that's why you get a cold air intake, even if it actually brings in more hot air than cold, I guess. But yeah, my 3rd favorite mod that I've done on the car has to be the sway bar. You know, when I got the car, I went to the mountains right after, and I immediately noticed that there was a lot of problems with going around turns and kind of sliding out. Part of that was also because the stock tires were garbage, but that's another discussion for the tire video that will be uploaded one day, not sure when. Sway bar, I added that after I did the springs, and I immediately noticed a massive difference in the way the car handled around turns at speed. You know, generally if you're above 35 miles an hour, or even if you're going around like a really sharp hairpin in the mountains or something like that, like the sway bar, it makes an unreal difference in how much the rear end wants to kick out. It'll still kick out, especially because I'm on springs, rather than like a really stiff set of coils, but the amount it helped was drastic. So, you know, I did make a sway bar install video, which I will link in the description. I think that was a fantastic mod to do on the car, and I really couldn't recommend it more, especially like I bought mine, the APR sway bar, I got it on sale for like 150 bucks, which is unreal. But yeah, sway bar overall, I would put that at number 3 just because it made a huge difference in the handling of the car, and it's a relatively inexpensive mod, not too hard to install. It is a little bit of a pain, but you can get it done relatively quick. I think it took us a couple hours. Now, going into number 2. So now for number 2, my 2nd favorite mod I did on the car was actually the tune. Now, my original tune that I had was through integrated engineering, and I had some issues with that, which I'm gonna make another video talking about, and why I switched to EQT. But, you know, the tune in general, you know, these cars come with not a whole lot of power from the factory, as I mentioned earlier, but once you do the tune, like,
it completely changes the car. The way the transmission shifts, the way the power comes on, the amount of power the car makes is just fantastic. Not to mention, like, burbles are kind of fun, especially if you're in like a downtown area. You know, you can just kind of let it eat every now and then, turn some heads. It's pretty fun. It's typical Volkswagen activities, but you know, that's kind of my thought on the tune. I definitely would not have enjoyed this car nearly as much without it. I remember around 25,000 miles, I was getting really bored of it. It's like, man, I want to sell this thing. So I pulled the trigger on the tune and like never looked back. I didn't regret it one tiny bit, other than the fact that the IE tune specifically had some weird issues with the transmission, and the burbles were kind of really fucking obnoxious. I've had this car tuned now for 32,000 miles, so I do think I have a decent frame of reference for, you know, my experience with the car and the tune. Let's jump into number 1, which honestly shouldn't really be that surprising, but ironically I waited 32,000 miles, or 34, around there, to actually install this mod, and I seriously wish I had done it like the first week I owned the car. But I had to get comfortable, you know, wrenching on it a little bit before I took on this big of a job. It makes a huge difference in the way the car handles and the way the car looks. That would be lowering springs. You know, from factory, there's such a large wheel gap on the car that it really does look like a monster truck. And the minute that you know, put lowering springs on it, like, just, gosh, I mean, the fitment, man, like, you know, just, it really ties everything together. So, you know, I have specifically the H&R springs, and I think that they are fantastic. I think I paid like $200 for them, and the ride's not bad at all. They're super comfortable, and the car handles a lot better and looks a lot better. So like, I seriously could not recommend the H&R springs enough for this car specifically, especially because it has DCC. And like, with having DCC, you would have to do a canceller kit unless you wanted to check engine light, and you would get like weird codes and stuff all the time. So, you know, it's definitely, lowering springs is easiest if you have DCC on your car, which all the Mark 7.5s I believe have. So just keep that in mind if you have a Autobahn package or a, you know, Mark 7.5, because you will have to either do the DCC delete, or you could just get the H&R springs and not deal with it all. But yeah, I mean, that's really my top 5 favorite mods for this car. I mean, there's a lot that I've done, but I think of all of them, those are definitely the best that improve like the way the car drives, or, you know, your everyday experience in the car, whether it's a daily, a track car, a mountain car, you know, doing autocross, whatever it might be. Those are probably my top mods. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, ooh, I just spit a little bit. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like, comment, subscribe, stick around, maybe, if you want. I don't know. Anyways, peace out, guys.